Okay, today we are playing a game on Lijiang Tower. We are playing Tracer the entire way through, and this is actually a quick play game, so the SR is all kinds of messed up, and we also don't care about our team comp, because why would we? On the one hand, we're playing Tracer, who already doesn't care about her team comp that much, and then we're also playing quick play, where no one wants to play support, and the point doesn't matter, so we're just gonna start the game. This is also quick play, so it's 2 out of 3 instead of 3 out of 5, but really this is just a glimpse into the future, seeing as they're about to change King of the Hill in competitive to be 2 out of 3. Which I don't like. I understand why they're doing it, but I don't like it anyway, because King of the Hill is my favorite game mode. So it being 2 out of 3 instead of 3 out of 5 just means I'm playing less King of the Hill net. So I'm very upset about it. Anyway, let's just start the game. So we're on Night Market right now, and we're going to go around the left-hand side. At least Soldier is coming with us right now. We do bottom out of Blinks coming around the corner, which is a little scary, but I mean, the game just started at the same time, so what are we really going to run into? We use Recall mad early. Like, we don't really have to be that afraid of anything that's right in front of us, and we haven't even taken any damage yet. Nothing right there is going to just immediately spike us to death, so we don't need to use Recall, especially at full HP, and then we get punched in the face, which is always going to feel bad to just get Saitama'd like that, but it happens. So, we didn't need to use Recall. We weren't actually being threatened, even though there were a lot of people in front of us. None of them were that threatening. So, we run into Doomfist on our way over here. He is, like, too far up by himself right now, because he's by himself. He has missed us with the punch, so he is no longer a threat to us at all, basically. It is scary to fight a Doomfist, because he can Saitama you. But once he's used his punch, well, what's he gonna do, really? Hanzo's already got his ultimate, which is not really surprising. Hanzo charges his ult quite quickly as long as he can actually, hit people, which is... So there's some variance involved in that one based on the Hanzo. So they have an Orisa, which is great news for us because we get to bully around an Orisa all day. We are making it really easy for this Orisa to hit us because we're just kind of walking around in front of her. We're not doing a good job of staying mobile. We reload right there while you're reloading as Tracer. I mean, we talked about this in the other video that you sent in, but when you're reloading as Tracer, you want to be blinking because you're keeping mobile. You're doing something during your downtime because you can't be doing damage while you're reloading, so it's just keeping active. And we want to be taking advantage of why Tracer is strong. Why is Tracer strong? She's a really mobile character that also does a lot of damage, but she's very soft. So we need to actually take advantage of our mobility. So we use Recall because we took a bunch of damage, and then we choose to go back in again right after using Recall, which is very scary because when your Recall is down, it's a lot easier for you to suddenly die when you don't have Recall, so you have to play more cautiously when you have Recall down. So we've already played quite aggressively by blinking back up onto the Orisa while Recall's down. Now we blink into the rest of their team as well. And Recall's still down. It's still down for 4 seconds. 4 seconds a long time, especially when you're in the middle of the enemy team. So this is a little bit overly aggressive for where we're at. We don't actually stick the Orisa, but that is how you want to kill an Orisa as Tracer, where you get her down to half HP and then stick her. Because if there's we already know she used Fortify, so it kind of removes part of the reason, but you want to get Orisa down to half HP if you don't know. Because she'll either use her Fortify while you're attacking her, and then you can just use Pulse Bomb after Fortify is done. Or if you get her down to half HP and she doesn't use it, you can just stick her and you'll kill her anyway. So, this is how you kill an Orisa. We didn't stick her, but she's just close enough that she dies incidentally anyway. You don't have to stick someone, even though it feels better to stick someone. So, again, we've used Recall, and we're continuing to play aggressively after using Recall. And then we get punched in the face, and then we only have to get tapped by somebody, and we're gonna die. So, again, you gotta play cautiously when your Recall is down, because it's really easy to die. My hair. Oh, God. There we go. Jesus Christ. So, Doomfist's doing that. Very scary. Oh no, good heavens. We just don't push Recall in time. Happens, So we end up dying because Reaper was politely informing us that we should probably die, so we did in fact die. Now we have to come all the way back over again. Fortunately, most of the team was dead, and we're playing Tracer, so we get back here quickly. Now some of our team is not dead anymore. Bongo is still there. Bongo is mostly gone, so we don't really have to worry about breaking it, and it just sort of runs out during the fight anyway. It is scary to just sort of try and walk past a Reaper like that, because if the Reaper is paying attention and has, like, decent aim, he's just gonna shoot you as you walk past him. And then that's gonna feel pretty bad, because you can get one shot by a Reaper. But he didn't do that, so we just killed the soldier, and then we came over here, we started bullying around Hanzo. All of these people very scary to fight because they can one-shot us, but I mean, that's just part and parcel of playing Tracer. You have to acknowledge that you can just get one-shot by quite a few heroes, and you have to just, like, play around that. Which is where the mobility comes into it, and being more cautious when you have no recall. And even more cautious if you have no recall and no blinks, because then it's really easy to die. So we have come around this way. We only encounter Soldier, and we played a little cautiously. He uses Helix Rocket on us, which means he's not scary anymore, but now his team is here. So that has suddenly become quite scary. So here we recall, like, way late, honestly, because now is, like, a good time to recall, because it'll put you back in the building and, like, not getting juggled around in front of the enemy team. Then we recall and come back out here, and that's a very aggressive use of recall because it puts you behind the enemy team. And I don't know if that was the intention or not, because I'm not psychic. But you do sometimes want to recall in a way that will put you behind the enemy team, but you have to be really confident that you're going to make it work, because there's something to running away and then recalling back to get, like, behind the Zenyatta like we are now, and then trying to kill the dude. But you do have to be really confident that you're going to kill the guy, and you don't want to do it when you have no blinks, because then you recall into the enemy team, but you've got no blinks. So you're not really Tracer for that period of time, because you're just 150 HP, no blinks. So not a good time to do that, because we're, like, low on resources at that point anyway. And I just generally don't really recommend doing that, especially while you're learning to play Tracer, which I know you are doing. Just, like, I advise you while you're learning to play Tracer to only think of recall as defensive. Even though it has some aggressive applications, while you're learning to play, you should only think of it as defensive, and to get out of trouble. So, we're over here now, and we see a Reaper. Reaper doesn't notice us. We don't really want to be that close to Reaper, because if he swivels around... Oh, by the way, we're on console. I forgot to mention that we are on console today. We're on the Xbox, it looks like, based on the hieroglyphics. We're on the console, if that matters to you. So, we don't really want to be this close to the Reaper, because if he just suddenly swivels around and, like, gets a decent meat shot into you, you die. So, the reason Tracer is good against Reaper is because you have a slightly longer range than Reaper, so you don't want to be point blank on him. So, now we're trying to bully around this Reinhardt. There's still a soldier here as well, but we just choose to bully around the Reinhardt. You don't want to be on top of Reinhardt while you're trying to bully him, because then he can just smack you, and that's half your HP gone right there off one smack. So you want to have some distance between you and the Reinhardt. If you're, like, blinking through a Reinhardt shield to get behind him, you want to, like, have some distance on the other end still. So we build up our ultimate right there, we just stick Soldier. Don't quite get Reaper, because he just came out of Wraith form a little bit too late for us to do that. But we killed Soldier, who was the scary one here at the time. Now Reinhardt's here, who's kind of scary. So, it's all good. We can hear Doomfist doing stuff around us, but we've been more concerned with the Reinhardt. Now we can just finish off the Doomfist, because he's all by himself. Here comes Soldier. Soldier isn't allowed to do this, and he dies as a result. Here comes Reaper. Reaper's not really allowed to do this. This is a very scary place to fight Reaper, because you can't really take advantage of your mobility next to the edge on Garden, because it's very easy to blink off the edge. And you have to walk at him in a very straight at him direction on these areas. So we want to avoid fighting Reaper in this area, because it becomes quite easy for him to shoot you in, like, a confined area. Well, it's not confined, but, like, you have a very limited area you can go in. So I guess it is confined, you know. It's scary to fight a Reaper over there, because you can just suddenly get killed. So we try to stick Hanzo. You don't need to try and stick this Hanzo because this Hanzo's out here all by himself. And you've got your team with you. You shouldn't need to stick that dude because he should be dead regardless, and you can use your ultimate to actually, like, pick somebody off later, rather than that dude who should be dead regardless of you using your ultimate. Reinhardt's not allowed to do that. He's dead now as a result. Here comes Reaper. Reaper isn't allowed to do that. He does survive this initial blow because we don't headshot him. When you see a Reaper doing this, you got all the time in the world. You gotta aim higher, because you want to headshot this dude when he's coming out of it, rather than just body-shotting him. Because if you headshot him just once, he dies right there, because he got away with like 1 HP. I mean, he dies regardless, because, I mean, you know. But you want to eliminate even the possibility of him escaping. So I aim for the dude's head. You got all the time in the world when he's using Wraith, teleport really badly like that. Shadow Step. There we go, that's the one. So Doomfist is doing this. Doomfist isn't really allowed to do this, but he's doing it anyway. We don't use recall to heal, we just come over here and pick up the health kit, which is good. Here's Doomfist, he's still like walking around doing stuff. Very scary hero to fight as Tracer because he can just Saitama us and we wouldn't be very happy about it. Oh, there goes Winston. Oh, Reaper's doing this over here. We end up recalling onto Reaper while he's using Death Blossom, which is basically unfortunate, because we did want to use recall, but it took us to a place that was not any better. And that's going to happen sometimes. I remember watching a pro game where they were on Nepal in Sanctum, and the dude went along the you know, the overlook on the point, opposite the point, that you can go across the ledge in front of that. Dude went across the ledge in front of that to get to the enemy team quicker. Had to recalled back, and then immediately fell off the map because he recalled in between one of the gaps on the ledge. And it was really funny. And it was basically just unlucky, because he wanted to get there quicker, then he had to recall, and then the recall just happened to be in between the ledges, so he fell. And it was very funny. And then I believe it was shared around on the Reddit because, haha, pros are bad. So anyway, this had no bearing on anything really, but I just find things like that to be very funny. So we used our pulse bomb right there. Didn't really get very much done, but also would have used it as well to try and kill those two dudes. Now it's just these two dudes. And now it's just one of these dudes. We've had 50 HP this entire time, so this is of course very, very scary. Because could die so suddenly. Just kind of like that, in fact. But we, like, dodged around the pillar a bunch of times, and it was going well up until we died. Which is most of human life, really. It was going well up until we died. So, we almost have Pulse Bomb built up again, because this ultimate charges very quickly. We're spending a lot of time, like, waiting around right now, and I'm not sure why. Perhaps because we're trying to get Mercy to, like, GA to us. But there's a fight happening in there that we kind of want to be involved in, because, I mean, you generally want to be involved in the fights that are happening. So, good discipline to, instead of using Recall to heal, we just blink over here to pick up a health kit instead. Because a recall over there, while it would have healed us, would have probably put us in a pretty bad position. And, if you can get away without using recall, you do want to, because you can just pick up a health kit. So we have our ultimate, we blink forward, stick it on somebody, and then that happens, which is very interesting. It's because he punched forward, isn't it? Because we stuck him. How sad is that? It's just, yep, blink up, stick him, recall away. Oh, he just happened to punch right next to where we recalled. Damn. Because it all happened so fast, I was like, what? I had to think for a second, what actually happened right there? And basically sadness happened there, but... So, we now have Infrasight happening as well. Doesn't really tell us very much, because who would have guessed they're all just huddled on the point together. This is incredible information. So, Reinhardt's killed himself, and we've managed to pick off Mercy, so everything's going well. Oh fuck, we recalled onto Death Blossom again. We had to use recall, because we nearly died. it just so happens that Reaper chose to use Death Blossom at that time as well. So we got unlucky several times during that round where we had to recall, and then it killed us anyway. So we hear Tac Visor happening, which is why we're waiting right now, which is fair enough. Then we appear, we kill him. Oh fuck, he's alive again, but at least he doesn't have Tac Visor. And there's a lot of people here right now. We're trying to focus the Mercy. We got the Mercy in the end. Oh god, Reinhardt. Oh god, we're so very close to being dead. But we have to be here because it's overtime, and then we get killed in the end. To no one's great surprise, I'm sure. We had to be there because it was overtime. And then we were there for a really long time with very few hit points, so it went a lot better than expected, honestly. So, now we're going on to the final round on Control Tower. Probably the worst map for Tracer, because it's pretty straight line, really. And, you know, we're over here now. A bit of a mishap with our Chrono Accelerator, I suppose, but you know, it's all fixed itself now. So we are on their Mercy right now. She's not very happy about it. Now she's right next to her team. There's a lot of things here that can kill us, and then we get killed by one of the things that can kill us. We did kind of have to use the recall, but then, unfortunately, Doomfist is just, like, in the neighborhood still, so basically, you want to try and leave right now, rather than come back in, because you know the entire enemy team is here. And you've just used recall, so this is the time where we want to play more passively. So then rather than blinking back to the point, we'd rather blink away back, like, towards our spawn, so that we can get into a safer location, like, away from the entire enemy team, and we can kind of get our bearings again, and wait for our team, and recall to be back up, rather than going back in. So now we've just run into a lot of people straight up, and we're fighting next to a Junkrat in a very confined location, which we generally want to avoid. We do want to kill the Mercy, but we also don't want to fight in a confined area next to Junkrat, so it's kind of up to you to decide which of those two things takes precedent. I would have edged on just going and fighting somebody else, because chance of getting just randomly killed by a Junkrat in a confined space like that, quite high. And you being alive is generally more important, so I would have advised just giving up on the Mercy and going to find something else to do when you can fight in a less scary location, basically. So here we can hear Junkrat, fucking hell. We can hear Doomfist charging up his punch, but we just don't really seem to think about it, just walk around a corner, get punched as we walk around the corner. It's pretty, you know, listening to the game and, like, the audio cues from heroes like Doomfist is pretty important. So we stick people over there. We did stick Reinhardt. I advise you to typically avoid sticking tanks unless you know you can do follow-up damage. But he was near a lot of people, so we could expect it to kill other people. It just didn't end up killing a bunch of people. Reinhardt died eventually regardless. So we're going in right now. When we don't have recall, we've got no blinks as we come over here, because that just came up. And we got 30 HP. So we just kind of get killed. You can't go in when you got 30 HP and no resources. You gotta back up, heal up, and, like, wait to have blink or recall back up. So we've been rezzed right next to this tire, and that's very scary, but we're playing Tracer, so we managed to get away from it just about. So he was probably very upset about that one. We could have recalled there, and I would have recalled anyway, because you got really close to dying, but Mercy heals us, so it ended up not mattering. We are now choosing to bully this Reinhardt when there are better things we could do with our time. Like, we chose to just blink next to the Reinhardt and start shooting him. But there's a Reaper here, and there's a Mercy here, but we're shooting Reinhardt. There's better things we could do with our time, and we're also right next to Reinhardt and Reaper, which we don't want to be because we're just entering into their areas, which we want to avoid. Because their zones of threat are quite scary. And then we get bonked and killed by Reinhardt. So, we don't want to be right next to people like Reaper and Reinhardt, because we can fight them from slightly further away. So we are waiting to, like, help Mercy get back quicker, but Mercy's, like, not really coming with us right now. So, I mean, you know, we waited, so that's good. It's just Mercy didn't respond very quickly. So we started coming back over here for the Reinhardt, like, there's better things we could do with our time than try to get this Reinhardt, honestly. Like, we could go and try to get their Mercy, especially since we almost have our ult built up now. Like, we can shoot anybody, basically, and get our ult, so better things to do with our time than come over here to look for the Reinhardt. Then that happens, and that's obviously very scary. We've had to use recall early. A lot of our team are dead. Tag visors are still happening. We're still next to a bunch of people, so we're pretty fucked. So the only way you can really deal with that one is just, like, don't have been standing in that position to begin with. But, and we hear Doomfist charging up right there, but we're not looking where we're going, so we just get clonked in the head by Doomfist. Want to listen for Doomfist charging up his punch, because it is a very scary ability. So we try to stick the Mercy, and we just straight up miss. Feels bad, man, as missing generally will. And we want to blink away from this Reinhardt, because we want to kill the Mercy, yeah, but we're still right next to Reinhardt. We gotta prioritize getting away from Reinhardt first, because if we die, well, shit, man, it feels pretty bad, and then we end up losing the round. We were gonna lose regardless, but, you know, maximizing your chances and all that. So we ended up losing, which feels, oh, he's chewing on his metal. Okay, I was like, what is Junkrat doing over there? So, Reaper got it, apparently. Yep, just appeared right in front of him, right next to the pillar. Oh, feels bad. Right next to the pillar as well, so there was, like, no way to get out. So, here we see a bunch of things. Okay, yep. Alright, yep. Random is like Russian stuff again. I don't know why that keeps coming up. Yeah, we got some of that. Yep. Right, okay, I don't know. I've been watching some weird stuff, apparently. Whatever. Anyway, so. So the thing that stands out the most, much like the other game that we watched of yours, you are playing aggressively while you don't have recall, or you don't have many blinks as well in some cases, and that's really scary. If you don't have recall, you have to play a lot more cautiously. Target prioritization was better in this game, because in this first game we watched, we spent a lot of time focusing Reinhardt rather when we could have been doing better things with our time. That's much less apparent in this game. The thing that really stands out is, like, when you don't have many resources, you just have to play more cautiously as Tracer, because you're already very soft, and all you have is mobility. So if you're lacking in your mobility abilities, you're just really easy to kill. Like, a Tracer who gets hacked is one of the most tragic things in the world. So you don't want to hack yourself, you know. So, anyway, thank you very much for watching if you did. If you have any questions, there wasn't a question in the email, right? Hold on. I always get really paranoid about it when I don't. I'm sure I don't, but I'm paranoid about it. Nope, there's no question in the email. Whenever there isn't one, like, I'm always like, was there though? Anyway, thank you very much for watching if you did. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'm more than happy to answer, and I hope you found the video helpful.